Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn, co-host and moderator of Discussions from the Other Hood. I'm here this lovely July 6th, 2024 evening, and I'm here with the remainder of the Blerdsassins Next Door. We've got Sonia and Otto, and hopefully others will show up later. But of course, this is kind of sliding in, from the holiday weekend, which a lot of people took off last week, in the middle of the week for the 4th of July, making it an extremely long weekend going through the Saturday and Sunday. So hopefully some will show up. If not, that's okay. And tonight we are going to be talking about when you discovered you just unwittingly became a character in a horror film. Before we get started, we will get with our weather for the evening, for the day, for the week. And we'll start with Sonia, since she's at the top. How was the weather?
It's hot for Rochester. I know it's not hot compared to where you and Otto are, but it's hot for Rochester. It got up to 90 degrees this week without the heat index. The heat index made it like 95. They're all freaking out up here. Right now it's 76, so it's nice and cool right now. And they're not used to the humidity that's up here.
Are you on land that has like a lot of foliage, or are you like on a cement concrete? Because I know we're in the cement concrete asphalt, the heat, the sun bounces back at you. But when you're on, significant, soil, land, grass, that it does absorb some of it. So are you
It does absorb some of it. However, the air is coming from across the different lakes and stuff. So it's full of humidity, and they don't know how to handle humidity up here.
Oh, wow.
And it's an unconditioned house.
Ooh. So I guess if you're up there, you probably don't have this kind of weather such that you are needing the air conditioning like you would, further south.
Yes, I'm grateful that we're not back in Tallahassee. They said without the heat index, it was 100 plus in Tallahassee this weekend. So they didn't even factor in the heat index after that. So I'm completely grateful. But the wind usually runs parallel to houses, so there's no cross ventilation.
Ooh.
So if you hear the hum in the background, it's a fan we have trying to force cross circulation.
All right. Okay, how about you, Otto? Do you want to talk about your weather?
Not really. It's hot. So, it's kind of a trick hot. It's like this new what's the name of this new hurricane that's flowing around?
Beryl.
They said, well, Beryl will drop temperatures down 20 degrees. And so it used to be 9 to 9 to 9 to 7 to 9. So then at that point, it's going to be a less of the all lies. 99 degrees all the time. 99 degrees.
You're not close enough to the coast for that.
No, we don't get any of that.
But that's what they said. I'm just going by what the TV tells me.
Yeah, it's still hot here. It's really hot. All right. Now, we're going to get down to the business of when you discover you just unwittingly became a character in a horror film. Now, this came about, we a couple of things this past week, since we were sick and had to be home pretty much all week because we're sick actually the past week and a half to 2 weeks. We got a flu. I don't know what this thing is, but it had everybody knocked out.
There's no read though, Penelope. It was just me, actually.
Okay, I was sick too, but just earlier than you. I got over it earlier.
You were light switch sick. You were off then on.
All right. Yeah. He was like, I'm writing my last will and testament sick. He was very, very ill. So he was, he tried. He got up one day and said, I'm going to work, and then went to work. And are you sure you're going to go to work? Yes, I shall go to work. And then I said, well, maybe I should go get you at 2:00. No, I am fine. I shall go to work. By the time I picked him up at, 4:00, I had to scrape him up off the ground with a spatula. And he's like out of it completely because he was still sick, but trying to go to work. So now he's, I think, pretty much out of it, right? Right? You think you're pretty much out of it? We'll see.
Oh yeah, I feel like a different person, man. I'm barely hanging from the 80th floor by my fingernails now.
Yeah, there we go. And now look at you. You're gonna make smart comments and all that, so we know you're back. All right, now where we are is talking about our horror films. We were watching a whole bunch of horror films during this period of illness. And so what you notice in these horror films is like, okay, especially Amicus, Hammer, what's the other one? United, what is it? What is the other one? I can't remember.
Some
But
American International, but
yeah,
not a
American
lot.
International. That's American International. So you're watching the film, right? And people are doing things. For instance, let's say, was it Tales from the Crypt, the one with Joan Collins? Okay, so
Yeah.
we start out, all right, here we go. You got these people. They go into the catacombs. So they're in their catacombs. The guy says, follow closely because it is dangerous in here, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you will get lost because people get lost in here, and that's it for them. So they're like, okay, okay. So they're following the guy. He goes into the big room where the people he told that other people are in there as well. Okay, stay with me, everyone, because it is a dangerous place and you can get lost. All right. So they follow the guy. Then Joan Collins says, ah, my brooch. She can't find her brooch. So everybody looks down with her. Split second, really, just only like 2 seconds to look down and find this brooch. They look back up. The guy's gone. The whole everybody that's following in this tour is gone. So now they're like, oh my gosh, well, where did they go? Let's go this way. So they start walking down to where they see the torches against the wall. And then they go to the right. Oh, this doesn't look like it's the right way. Then they turn around, try to go another way. And then they hear a door sliding open, like a cave door. And then they walk in, and there's some guy there. Okay, now, at what point did they enter the horror movie? Okay, right?
Oh, the brooch is missing.
So
No,
what
no.
point?
I
I
mean,
mean,
Joan dropped a brooch. I mean, come on.
yes, yeah. And
I'm
so
gonna pick
everybody
it up.
stops to help her look for her brooch. After the now, okay, understand. There's like five of them, right? Joan Collins and these guys,
Right.
and so they're all together. They are looking for the brooch. Now you're going to tell me one person couldn't watch the tour group right in front of them to determine which way the tour group went?
No,
Come on.
they all look down. They all look down
You don't
simultaneously.
need all those people to
Cause
look for that
Joan
brooch.
dropped a brooch.
The guy said 3 times, stay close.
It was just a split
Don't get
second, though.
lost. Stay close. Do not just stay close. Don't get lost
It's a
because you can
split
get
second,
lost
though.
in here. Exactly. But everybody needed to look at the ground. Not one person could watch the guy to see which way he went. Okay, you all. At this point, we have entered the horror movie.
Well,
All
no,
That's
right.
no,
when
no.
you.
Wait a minute, though, because
Yes.
the dude that's doing the tour, he's all old and British looking.
Right, right.
And then Joan Collins dropped her brooch. I'm like, hey, come get the brooch. Here you go, Joan.
How about this? Wait a minute. I got to bend over and get my brooch. Hold on, y'all. And when they realize that people are gone without them, I mean, what do they get, the stiff upper lip British thing? They can't yell and say, hey, wait, somebody, wait for us. We're lost. We're lost.
Well,
They couldn't do that.
that's not very civilized, is it? Yelling
I'm
like
not
that.
getting lost in the freaking catacombs. Okay. I am yelling. I'm calling out to the persons.
But there's
I
a
know that
door
I'm
right
in.
there.
Look, I know that I'm in that place, right? Right? Somebody brought my behind in there, correct? So that means eventually there's another tour that's going to have to come by there. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit on the ground and I'm going to wait for the next tour. I'm not taking one step in any other direction. I'm going to sit on the ground and wait.
No, pip pip,
Everybody else can
show
do what they
pip
want.
pip, pip pip, shoulder on.
Okay, there you go. That's you all. And you would
Yeah.
what happened to them is what's going to happen to you. Me, I'm sitting on the ground and waiting for the next tour group. And
I'm not going in.
that brooch be damned.
Well,
That
you don't have
brooch
a
is
choice.
just lost.
Well, you don't have a choice. You're in the catacombs. I mean, you're
Yep,
in the catacombs.
I'm in the catacombs. I'm saying it's a tour group. So I'm
Right.
going to sit right here where the tour group left me off. Because
Yeah,
eventually
but
some of the
it may
tour
not be
group is going to
another.
come.
There may not be
Huh?
another tour. There may not be another tour till tomorrow.
Then I'll be there till tomorrow. I won't be walking around places where I'm not sure they're gonna go. Are you nuts? Come on. No way.
But the door
No way.
Well, you didn't tell the whole story because a door opens, right?
And I especially am not doing that.
And so you think the door opens. This is an exit.
No, I am especially. You see, I already know I'm in the horror film now. Why would I go through
Why were
a
you in a horror
door?
film just because
Okay,
Joan Carter dropped a brooch?
because the guy, she drops the brooch. We look up, all of a sudden everybody's gone. You know, everyone, the tour guide is gone, like they
Yeah.
vanished in thin air. Oh
Well,
no.
let,
Oh
let me
no, no,
let
no,
me
no,
let
no.
me give you an example. Let me give you an
Go on.
example. Okay. So when I was like, I think like 12 or something like that, we went on we went to Bear Mountain in New Jersey, right? And so a group of kids, a group of older boys, some younger boys, but mostly older boys, went, younger boys followed the older boys, hiking, going up there, going up the hill and stuff. And I said, you know what, this is ridiculous. I'm heading back. So I headed back. And then I said, you know what? If I don't go all the way up, they're gonna say I'm a wimp. So I headed up. So I headed back up. And so you know what happened, right? I got totally lost. So that in and of itself is not a horror movie.
Oh yeah, it would have been for your
For
mom.
me, it is.
It would have been
Yeah.
for your mom if you'd gotten lost and
I was
nobody knew who you
lost.
were.
I
So
was
how
lost.
did you get found?
I used my 12-year-old wits.
Okay, anyway, how'd you get found?
Nobody found me. I found my way back.
How so? Did you go up or did you go down?
I started to go back up, and then I said, "This is a lost cause because I don't see anybody because So then I just remained quiet, and then I just listened for the groups of people playing and stuff like that to the campsite, and then I followed that noise, and then I found my way back.
Congratulations.
So it's not a horror story. It wasn't a horror story.
It could have been.
It was for the adults who realized they couldn't find you.
Yeah, it could have been a horror
No
story.
one was looking for me.
Wow, that's even worse. I mean, that's even worse.
Because
That's a horror story.
No one knew I was lost.
It's a horror story.
If no one knows you're lost and you're out there by yourself, it's a horror story.
Yeah.
Oh, let me give you another example. Okay. My aunt and my mom went to Macy's. Okay. I told you about this, Penelope, right?
Yes.
And so, when I think I was like 5 or 6. And so when you're that age, everything is big, right? Everything's like, I went to the women's section because my mom and my aunt wanted to buy slips or whatever womanly dressings they would buy. And so, I was playing going in between the clothes, and I got lost. I couldn't find everything. It was like a maze. Everything looked the same. And so it hadn't. I mean, I don't think it was for a long time, but I kept walking, and eventually I ran back into them. This is the middle of Midtown Manhattan on 34th Street, Macy's. Mm-hmm. And so that's not a horror story. So getting lost in and of itself is not a horror story.
It is for your mom.
Yeah, also because I remember when I took my kids to the state fair in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You know that thing is full, has a lot of people. So it was myself, the babysitter, I think her nephew, at the time I had 3 children, all 3 of them were with me, and so we're walking, and one of my children, second one, is getting distracted, and I'm like, "Don't get distracted. Come stay with everybody," because he's stopping and looking at things along the way. So we're getting everybody out together. We're trying to get to this ride, so we see the ride. We're going there. We get to the ride. And I put them on like 2 by 2. I turn around, and that child is gone. Gone. At the State Fair of Texas, the Midway is like jam-packed with people. So I said, okay, everybody stay still here. I'm going to go back and look for him. So I head back toward the main part of the Midway, trying to find him. So I go down and then it splits. And so I think, okay, I'm gonna go in toward where Big Tex is and keep heading down toward Big Tex. So that's quite a ways. And I take like 10 steps and I say stop. Because if I'm going in the wrong direction, every step I take is taking me further away from him instead of closer to him. And I'm like, I am not going to get on the phone and call this man and tell him that I've lost one of his children. That would be death for me. Said there's no way that I'm going home without this man's children. So I went to a police officer and I said, hello, security police officer. My son has gotten separated from our group. And so he, asked me all the questions, height, build, name, all these things, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yeah, we got him. He said, actually what happened is that once he realized that he was separated from his group, he came to a police officer. And he had all his information, knew everything, He said, most children do not know that. He said that, between the two of us, he said, was well prepared.
But
parent,
it wasn't a horror story for
your
son.
A horror story for me. Yes, for me, I even after we found, I could not go to the fair that day. I had to go home. I could not function after that.
But let me ask you this: when the cops start asking you all these questions about height, weight, and everything, doesn't that just add to your anxiety?
Yeah, but you know what? All those things, the things they tell you, like height, weight. The child has to know your name. Your child should know your phone number. That you should not have your child with their name on their clothing ever when they are at this type of events, because someone can come up to them if they believe that they look lost and say, hey, Johnny, your mom told me to come get you. So you're never supposed to have your children's name on their clothing in a situation like that. So all the things that we knew, and prepared them for, that I hoped that I would never have to use, that we had to use that day. So it was really
they've now added take a picture of your child when you get to the event so they know exactly what they looked like at that moment when they arrived.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a little girl. There was a little girl lost on the beach in Panama City, and they, because of all the different shark attacks and the rip currents, they were terrified she had been pulled out. And the mom had taken a picture of her as they arrived, so they knew what swimsuit she was wearing and all of this, and they found her.
Oh, good.
But they were terrified they were terrified that she had gotten close to the water and the rip current took her out.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to tell you, so I think that getting lost stuff, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
That is like horror movie level stuff, man. That is horror.
Well, it depends on which end of the lost you are, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you but that's the problem, and this is why you're in the middle of the horror movie, because you don't understand the danger. You're walking around thinking,
right, because people,
I've got this. That's the point.
People,
that's the point.
Getting lost is a common thing that people do.
Yeah, but that's why, because it's a common thing people do, that you don't realize you walked into the middle of a horror story. You think that it's normal lost, and it's not normal lost. You're in the middle of a horror story. You've gotten off the beaten path. You can turn around and try to find your way back, but you won't be able to. I remember watching some other film. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of it. But this guy is he's like in these tunnels, and he's following the tunnel. They're doing something. He's not supposed to be there. They're not supposed to be recording in this place. So he's doing it anyway. So he's going through this tunnel, right? So it gets to the end of the tunnel. And he walks, several steps and doesn't really know where he is. So he turns around to go back in the opposite direction. And as he turns around, it's like all these different hallway corridors that have dead-ended that spot. So he doesn't know which one it was that he came out of. Come on, scary. Walk into a horror story and don't even realize it. Because your mind is like, I'll just turn around and go back the way I came.
Yeah, because you're lost.
That's right, but you can't tell which way you came, because now there are all these corridors any any one of which you may have come through.
Well, and it also depends on where you get lost. Like, for
Right?
instance, I got lost at Macy's. That
Macy's is
seems like a
bounded.
pretty. I mean, if you're gonna get lost somewhere, that seems like a place that you could be found, right? Macy's,
Right, it's
as
bounded. I
opposed
mean,
to
it's a building.
Bear Creek Park, which is
Yeah, where you could be finding your bones this very day.
right,
You know.
right. So it depends, like
Yeah,
you know
but the whole point is, like you
your
said,
son get lost
yeah. But
at the
see, like
state
I
fair.
said, it's all perspective, like you say. You are thinking in terms of, hey, look at me, I'm a grown man, or I think I'm a 12-year-old boy, and I know how to get myself unlost. You are prime for the horror movie. It's made exactly, specifically for people like you who think that you can resolve this issue. You got it all
Hmm.
worked out. You are in the middle of a horror story because you actually think that you can turn around at any point and figure out how to get back.
Who doesn't?
So, huh? Me?
Who doesn't when they get lost? Who
Me?
doesn't?
I don't. That's why I don't like getting lost. I don't get lost. I don't do that. That is not in my list of things to do.
Everybody gets lost.
No,
Who
not me.
hasn't been lost?
No, no, because I have when I was younger. I don't do that anymore. So no, I don't do the lost thing. So how about okay? I think that thing, the following somebody, getting lost, that is when that is a horror movie staple. When you find
Getting getting
yourself,
getting
When,
separated from your
especially when
group.
you,
mhm,
right, or especially when you realize you've been following the wrong. All these people are wearing similar things, and you followed
mhm,
the wrong person.
that true too. That too.
That
So what
never
is your
happened.
okay? So
That
what is
that
yours
never
then?
happened to me.
Okay, if the lost thing isn't yours, then Otto, what is yours?
No, I mean the following the wrong group.
Yeah, I mean, but
That's
that
never
thing, follow the
happened.
wrong group. Okay, but I'm just saying, what would be yours then, of your finding
Mine.
yourself? Yes. Which one do you think is the most realistic of finding yourself in a horror film?
Uh, let's see. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe finding out that people want my presidential candidate to quit.
You know what? I want you to stay on topic. How about that?
Okay.
That's how about that. My horror thing. Okay, I'm gonna stay. Let me continue. Um, Another film that I saw was what is it? I think it's Baltimore. Is it Baltimore? Where the guys are in the building and they get into the elevator and they push the button and they go down in the elevator and everybody pushes their button to go to the ground floor. But before it gets to the ground floor, after it's supposed to pass the ground floor, it goes down to the sub basement. Okay? So they're all in the elevator and they're looking at each other saying, hey, why did this thing pass the ground floor? I don't know what's going on. So the elevator door opens and like there's these seats around a table in the middle. Was like around in this round room. And they said, oh, I didn't know that there was a club room down here. Oh, me either. So they all get off the elevator, okay, into this room that they've never been into before. There's drinks and stuff, sitting in the middle of this table. And they all kind of go in and they sit down. And as soon as the last person, steps out of the elevator closes, right? Okay. When do we know in this situation that we have entered the horror movie?
When the sub basement that's not listed on any specs are now your destination.
Yeah. And you know what? When the elevator door opens, there is a club that I'm not a member of, right? And I'm on the elevator. Why am I getting off? Why would I step into
Well,
this
well,
room?
well it's a natural thing. I mean, there,
Not for me,
there's elevator etiquette. Okay, so everyone knows elevator etiquette. You're on an elevator. Let's say you're on the
right?
70th floor and you're going down.
Right?
Okay, so you're the first one on the elevator, and
Uh-huh.
so you press your button. You press L
Uh-huh.
or
Mm,
G. L
right.
for lobby,
Lobby,
G for
ground.
ground.
Right, right.
And so somebody else stops stops the elevator. They get on. You you
Mm-hmm.
you move to the back, and
Right.
the other people get in. And some people do stupid things like press a button that's already been pressed.
Right. We do that.
They'll press L or G, and it's already pressed. You say, "What a
Mm-hmm.
dumbass!" It's already
Right.
pressed. And so that happens. And you I don't know about other people, but guys usually that they don't really look at or check out other guys. So you avoid eye contact and you look up in the sky or you look down at the ground. You look at your watch and all this stuff. These are simple and ordinary things, right?
Absolutely. I'm with you.
And
But the not ordinary thing, you get in the elevator, it goes past the lobby, past the ground floor, goes into the sub basement, second sub basement, whatever. You know that's not where you were
so you
trying
know
to
what
get
I would
off.
do? What I would
Stay in
do?
the elevator and press the G to go
What I
back
would do?
up.
What I would do is I would say, "This is BS. This elevator broke. I'm gonna press the G or L button. I'm gonna keep pressing it.
Exactly. I'm not
And
getting out.
if it doesn't work, I'm gonna press the red button, the emergency button.
Right. I'm not getting out.
I'm not getting out. I don't
No.
care. I don't care how lush a banquet they got.
Because you
I
don't
don't.
know what, and you don't know what's in the food, and you don't know what's in the drinks.
Don't know who
Yeah,
put
I
it out.
mean,
Not my food.
I'm a black guy. I come out there and I don't care if I dress in my best suit. It's like this black dude is stealing food. I'm
Nope. Nope. I'm not going down there.
And that's another way you've known you stepped into the horror film. You're the
Yeah,
only black character.
there
well,
you
if that's the
go.
case, then I've been in 1,000 horror films. Cause
Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And Mark Sebring is in the comments. He's saying, and everyone faces towards the door.
yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
Nobody faces like if somebody's gonna face toward the back of the elevator. No, that don't happen.
Or to each other, like
No,
like you speak. No, they just,
I mean
every,
if there's a cute woman in the thing, you may check her out. You check out her hair, or if
yeah,
she
something
wears check out her legs or something. You're not gonna be like pervert.
staring, like
Yeah, no,
like
you're
a,
not going.
If it's a
you know.
glass elevator and you can see what's on the other side, like in some of the hotels, I'll look out the back of the hotel.
I'm
Back
not
of it.
turning my back to nobody.
I like Mike.
This is
Nope.
true. This is true. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Do not
I'm
turn your
not turning
back.
my back to nobody. Now, if I'm on an elevator by myself and it's a glass elevator, then I'll do
Maybe.
my, pretend I'm Superman thing. But
All
other
right.
than that, I'm not turning my back to nobody.
Yeah.
So I got my back to the back.
Um,
Yeah.
um,
And the thing is, even if I'm tempted to go out,
mhm.
I'm not going all the way out. I'm going to the point where
Mm-mm.
I can stick my foot in the door.
Exactly. Exactly. I say I'm not. I'm not. And Mark is in the comment saying you can mess with folks by facing sideways. It
I
just doesn't.
no, facing sideways not bad because I've
I
done
don't
that.
know. I
I
think it would
face
be
sideways.
strange. I think it's strange if I were facing forward and the person next to me are facing sideways. I'd be like, whoa,
Well, if
what's
you
going
put
on?
no, if you put your back, if you go in the elevator, you put your back against
The
the
back
side
corner?
wall.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, that's
you could be
weird.
sideways. Yeah,
I guess. I don't know. I
but
don't know.
that's kind of rude and elevator etiquette because you take it seems like you're taking up more space,
Extra
right? So
space. Yeah, right.
right.
Yeah. So, wow. Yeah, but I think in that one that they go down into the elevator, they go down, it skips the floor. Then the people get off the elevator. Say, why are you getting off the elevator?
I'm not getting
The
all the way.
floor.
I'm not getting all the way off. I'm not getting all the way
No
off.
way.
I'd be
No,
too
No way.
terrified. I'd put my foot in the door and it close on my foot and I lose the foot.
Yes,
no. That's
I'm in the
I
elevator.
listen.
I'm all the way in. I'm not
People
coming out.
people people have asked me a lot of times how much faith I have in the elevator, but like in the
Mhm.
elevator's ready to close, and I
Yes.
put my arm or my leg in there. I have a lot of faith in elevators.
Yeah, you must.
That
Yeah,
that
but
that did.
if it missed your floor, it ain't working right. I'm
Oh no,
staying in the
but
elevator.
if it's on the ground floor, that door
Mhm.
is not going to close. Understand that door is not going to close.
But this is
And
the sub basement that's not listed on anybody's specs. I'm not getting off.
well, I got SB
I
on it.
mean, if it has SB, regardless of any SB, sub basement, I am not getting off. I do
Well, the
not
thing is,
press that button.
then you stay on the elevator, and
That's right.
the elevator gets dark. Have you ever been inside a dark elevator?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Don't know what's coming down the shaft.
I
You
mean, I
hear
know
the
I've been in an
cords
elevator.
rattle.
I know when they close, but I've never been in when they got dark. I mean, they always
Yeah,
have lights in them.
yeah. Talk
I've never
about
been in
horror
when they get
story.
dark.
Never been on a dark elevator
Me
before,
either.
people.
Never.
I
See,
have.
Nikki said Nikki has not, and I have not.
I have.
I've been
I
when the
have.
doors closed, but not when it gets dark.
Nope.
Yeah,
Why
I
would it
have.
get dark?
Because the lights went out. That's why it's dark.
That's crazy. I mean, did it
Yeah.
stop, or was it
I've been
just
listen. I've been on the.
was
Too
it
bad.
just going normally,
No,
No,
like it was
just
moving?
they don't replace the light bulb.
listen.
Oh, okay.
You- what light bulb? I've been in the elevator on the projects, and before we got on, we knew it was dark, and we got on anyway because you know why? It was an elevator,
Okay,
and
great.
we didn't want to carry our packages upstairs, and so
Okay.
it's like 10 people got on an elevator that was as dark can be.
Wow.
Nah.
Okay. Well, you know the etiquette, I guess. So I guess it worked
And then
out.
you ever been on a dark subway train? I wish James is here. That's a venture unto itself.
I've
Nope.
never
Never
been.
been on a dark
Now I'm gonna tell
train.
you, I have been on one where that thing does that thing where it blinks like
It
that.
blinks, yeah, but it doesn't
Yeah,
go off
where just like,
always.
and then it goes off for like a few seconds and then comes back. But I've never been on one that went completely dark.
Yeah,
No.
completely dark. And you know what it is? That's the most quiet subway train car.
I'm sure it is.
You hear some
That's
people
funny.
go. You hear some people call it.
Just to make sure
Mm,
they're still alive. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right. To make sure they're not in a horror movie. That's why.
yeah. Okay, there we go. Make sure they're not in a horror movie. Ah, but see me say that, you're thinking about the train, and that is another film which is Doctor Terror. It's called Doctor Terror something, but Doctor Terror, and this is the one that really gets me. Okay, you got these guys, 5 guys, and they're somewhere on this train in somewhere in England.
It's always London or something.
Yeah,
Always
so
or
they
just outside London.
so they get on this train, right? All of them get these 5 guys get in this car. So 3 people can sit on one side, 3 people can sit on the other side, I gather. But the 5 guys get in, and all of a sudden at the end, some other guy jumps in with them, and he's got this suitcase, that he has sitting like in his lap. So he sits in there with them and taking up all this space. And as he's driving along, the train starts, and he pulls out a deck of cards, tarot cards. So he said, "Oh, I can tell people's futures, blah, blah, blah." All right. See, for me, we've already entered the horror story. Number one, because he's talking. I'm on the train. I want quiet. I'm in my
So was it
thoughts.
talking
But
strangers?
just for me, talking strangers, okay? No talking strangers. Please be quiet. When talking strangers start talking, then automatically my hackles are up. What's going on here? Why is this talking stranger
But that
talking?
happens all the time
No, it
on
doesn't. Not all the
trains, on
No, not like
Ubers,
that. I mean, in
on
normal trains,
airplanes.
but you know what? These people, like, they're like so close up on each other. And I think this guy, and I guess, I don't know if he thought he was a flim flam man, maybe, that he's doing his tarot, his little flim flam thing. But even if that were the case, I'm not doing that. I'm not tapping the cards. I'm not asking him to tell me my future. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I am going to sit there quietly, look out the window. They ask me if I want to do it, say, "No, thank you, sir." So, yeah, no, no.
You don't want to do it.
So, no, I mean,
Oh,
but
so
in that,
so is it the tarot cards that tell you, or the talking strangers that tell you?
the first thing, the talking stranger would get me a little unnerved. It's like, why is this guy? Everybody else is quiet, but this guy
Mhm.
gets in the last person, and he wants to start talking. Why are you talking? It's night. I mean, this is not,
But
midday.
talking
It's
people happen all the
nighttime.
time, though. Pinot. That
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess they I'm unnerved by talking strangers. Also, because I guess in real life, I think a lot of times people they're talking, trying to chat you up because they're trying to steal from you. So, I'm looking at
what about
somebody.
your Uber driver?
I like my Uber drivers to be very quiet.
That's why your
I
Uber
don't,
score
and I
is so
don't
low.
like that.
That's
Okay,
why you got a low Uber score. Pinot.
yes, thank you. I like the Uber drivers to be quiet. I like them to ask me what music I want to hear because, like 80% of the time, a lot of people jump in and they play music I don't want to hear. So So, I'm just trying to get to where I've got to go while I listen to music that I don't want to listen to. That's it. And I don't want to be chatted up. I just want to get to where I'm going. Stay focused.
What about the Uber driver that plays music and that doesn't ask you? How do they know what music you want to hear?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Just put on their music. They don't even ask you. You have to listen to bad music all the way to wherever it is that you're going. So yeah, I mean, but I prefer to have to listen to the bad music than have somebody talking to me while I'm trying to get focused for whatever it is that I'm getting ready to do. So yeah, but this guy, he's worse in Dr. Terror because he's number one. Okay, even if I was past the chatty guy, even if I'm past him, say, hey, I'm gonna, read you your fortune, your destiny. Even, I go through all that, but the first guy, he tells him like this really bad destiny. Oh no, we're done. We're done.
Well, the thing to me, excuse me, I think strangers talking is a normal thing. I think it's normal.
Yeah.
I think pulling out a deck of Ouija cards, excuse me, a deck of tarot
Yeah.
cards, that's when the horror begins.
Yeah, and the thing is, even if you said, "Oh, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. This is no big deal." If I'm any of the other people and he's telling me these terrible things to get ready to happen, then I don't want you telling my future. I'm not touching any deck. I'm not doing any of that. We're done. I'm
I
already in
agree.
the horror film, and now I got to
Yeah.
figure out how to get out.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
already in. This, I got on the
Right.
train. The point of no return, as I say, is in my rearview mirror. This is not good.
Right. Talking strangers is not necessarily the thing, though.
But you know what? He had to get in the car before he started talking. So that meant
People
I was
talk over
already,
people.
I'm just saying that I was already in the car, right? The door is closed. And as you pointed out in that particular film, that the guys, I said, well, it's a train. Why don't just get out and move to another car? But what you indicated was that in these cars, it's like they got into the train, into the car from like outside. So there was no hallway. So
No.
you said, so they just jumped right from the outside into that train car
Right.
with no hallway.
Right.
So it's not like you could get out of that. So once they got in there, even before that other guy got in there, that was it. Horror movie on the way. They could never have known. They could never have known. You know? And
Yeah.
that one is bleak because you cannot know because everything else, if the
Everything is normal.
yeah, right. And if he was, let's say, if Peter Cushing with his suitcase was in the car first,
Right.
and you opened up the thing and you see this guy there
Right. Right.
looking
He's
like
already
that,
in there. Yeah.
if he was in there, you say, "Oh, that's okay. I'll wait for the next one."
Yeah. I'll
I
wait for
will,
the next one. Right.
yeah,
Like Jada Pinkett did in
like the
Tales
guy,
from the Crypt.
yeah. And she's already on the bus, and
She get ready to
mon-
get on the bus.
the demon
Oh, the
says,
demon.
"I'll
Right.
wait."
Right.
The demon says, "I'll wait for the
What
next one."
Penelope? Should I tell my Uber horror story?
Oh yeah, yeah, go ahead. Tell your
So
crazy Uber story.
when I was sick and I needed a ride home, and so I called Uber. And it was like 7 o'clock, and I worked all day, and I just couldn't take anymore. I just had to get home and pour myself into bed. I contacted Uber, and so the Uber driver, Uber app said driver's 5 minutes away. So the Uber gets there, and the name of the Uber driver was Kimberly, and so and the license plate was XYZ, and the model of the car was a blue Toyota Corolla. So I'm standing there waiting for my Uber, my blue, Toyota Corolla driven by Kimberly with the license plate XYZ. And so here comes the car and steps up to me. And I said, Are you Uber or what's going on? And said, yeah, we're Uber. And instead of a Kimberly, it's a guy driving the car. It's not a woman at all. And it's not a blue car at all. It's a white car. and it's not a Toyota Corolla. It's some sort of Volkswagen, and the license plate number is not XYZ. It's 1234, and there's a woman in the car, and she's driving it. And I asked myself, should I get into this car?
And you
And
say,
I said, you know what? I'm sick. I gotta go home. And so I got into said car.
okay,
Now,
okay,
is that a horror movie?
yes,
Yes.
it is. Yes, it is.
And
It's
if
like
you get out of it, you're lucky.
it's like, okay, it's not the car you ordered. The person that's supposed to be driving the car is not driving it. It doesn't even
No,
have the same license plate as the car
no,
that
no, or
you
make
ordered.
or model or nothing. No.
And there's two folks in the car, not
Yeah,
one.
a man and a woman. Yeah.
A man and a woman.
Who
Yeah.
says her name is Kimberly?
Uh-huh. She's Kimberly.
Yeah, she's Kimberly.
So he's who? Who's he? Who knows?
I have no idea. I didn't ask his name.
So he jumped in a car
Yeah.
with two strangers
Yep.
in a car that's not registered through Uber and ride home.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. And this is why you
And
cannot
it took a
listen to
it
him.
took a route. It took a route that I did not recognize. Penelope
Yeah.
too. And
This
so
why-
is that
yeah.
a horror movie? Or?
Well, this is where we find out that you are not a person who can rationally judge whether or not you've entered into a horror movie, because you got into a car in real life with two people you did not know, which was not registered through Uber, you know. But I guess you're like, what's his name, Mr. Ellington from.
I was sick.
That's right, you're sick, like Mr. Ellington.
Altered my reasoning skills.
Right. When you to tell him that it's the Howling Man and that they have caught the devil, and then he's trying to keep him here for all the evil and stuff that's been ended in the world, but he couldn't understand it because he was sick. And you're like, Mr. Ellington, you're sick and your judgment was way off, man.
Well, I did get home. I
by the grace of God, yes, you did.
I did get home.
Your guardian angels were working some serious overtime.
Yep. Because anything could happen. I mean, not even in the right car, man. So yeah,
They didn't even explain that. Oh, our car broke down and we had to get a rental or
You know
anything.
why?
Like that.
No, they said
why? Because he didn't ask. He didn't ask.
I said, I did ask Penelope. I said, this doesn't seem to be the car that's on the app. Well, I haven't registered this new car yet.
Okay.
I'll wait for someone who has.
Yeah, but again, sick, judgment off.
No,
I think that's what I was sick too, so I wasn't. I wouldn't
recommend this to anyone.
Me either.
Who's listening to our show, or people on the panel.
Yeah, do not do that. Do not do that.
No. I took some risk. I took some risk in my life.
Yeah,
but it could.
And you know what?
It wasn't a horror show.
But also another thing you didn't do. You didn't get in the car and then immediately text home saying, I got into this car.
I know I didn't do that. I didn't call.
Didn't you do that? Nope. Didn't call and text. Said, jumped in this car. Supposed to be Kimberly. This is the car I was supposed to get into. This car I got into. Didn't you do that?
Yeah, I was so sick. It felt like the car was riding in circles.
It probably was to
Could have been. Who knows? So that's craziness. So this is why this person.
So not every beginning of a thing is a horror show.
But it could be.
It very well could be.
It could be.
But most of the time it is not.
Sometimes it is not.
Yeah. Like once again, getting lost. Talking strangers.
Yes.
Getting into unmarked motor vehicles.
Yes. Yeah. Those things. Those are bad.
Or being with a group of people and somebody say, "Hey, look, a Ouija board."
That's one.
That's fine. Want to play?
Yeah.
When they walk in and they say, "You want to play whatever, a game, doll."
Yes. Oh, guys, why don't we try doing a seance? That one. It's like, what makes you think that you know how to perform a seance? What makes you think that is ever a good idea? So yeah, the seance. Fun. Yeah. What about that is fun? Please tell me. that that you are in a horror film when somebody decides out of nowhere that, hey kids, let's have a seance.
Let's talk to dead people.
Or
Yeah,
or here's a doll and it's moving and you know you didn't put the batteries in.
yeah, I don't know about that one. Yeah, but that could
Chucky,
be just,
when the
yes,
doll
yeah,
moves and it moves on its own volition without the batteries.
AI.
There's nothing to
Right.
power said motion.
Yeah, well, yeah, that
And
AI.
what was that? Was it Twilight Zone? Yeah, or Hitchcock, the
Talking
one where
Tina.
the doll, yeah, the doll took over the little girl's life. Yeah.
Oh no, she took over her life. My name is Taki Tina, and I love you very much.
No, there's another one where the doll becomes human and makes the child into the doll.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know
And
that
I've
one.
seen the one with the man with the dummy was done with the men, but I've not seen one was done. You have to find that one for me. I'll check that out.
Yeah,
That's
that one's terrified me when I was younger. I gave up all my dolls. Teddy Ruxpin was the most seriously. Okay, Mark.
oh, I did not like Teddy Ruxpin.
But he's got batteries. He can.
Wonder. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Worlds of Wonder. Teddy Ruxpin. Man, I remember that thing. That was
And was that
such a
scary?
read.
Was that scary to people? Was that by Teddy Ruxpin? Is that the beginning of a horror movie? It can be,
if
right?
Having a Teddy Ruxpin doll. Uh, I guess any type of talking doll that doesn't say what it's supposed to.
If it doesn't say the same crap over and over again, like loving me or telling me a story or something like that,
Yes.
then it's scary. And then you
Yeah.
better say you love me, and
And
you
say
better
all
tell me the same story over and over
over and
again.
over again. Don't start getting, cute and fancy. Keep
Yeah,
saying
don't
the
be
same
telling me
stuff.
that, you know what, I don't like what you did. Oh no.
Bye bye. Bye and bye. You gotta go. Sorry. But what if it's like Taki Tina who decides she don't wanna go? Then you've got an
Yeah,
issue. Yeah.
you got
That too.
issues,
Okay.
man.
If you're in the middle of a horror movie, uh
With a with
oh,
a with a dummy with a dummy or a dog goes off script.
okay, then you have walked into you are in the movie. There's no turning back now. You are in it. When the doll or the dummy goes off script, yeah, there's a problem.
I was
And
reading Mark's comment. Also, Furbies would never shut up. They just randomly start up.
now I've seen those things. I don't think we ever owned one in this home because I don't think they're particularly attractive.
What are those?
Um,
What are those? You look like gremlins or
Furbies,
something?
kinda,
Yeah.
yeah, creepy little things. So no, we never owned any of those in our house. But those that we did have, what was that little thing called that tells the stories? The little gnome thing. I don't know his name, but we had one of those, a little gnome who told stories. We had it for a long time.
You had one when you were a kid?
Oh no, our kids had them. Remember the little gnome thing that tells stories?
Nah, I don't
Then
know.
it was when Teddy Ruxpin came out and everybody made their own little thing that
Yeah, I mean
started telling stories.
it's
Elmo told stories and all
it's
that.
in this house still. It is still in this house.
You know what though? Those stories were
But
lame as hell. I tell you that.
I'm sorry,
And
this is the man who likes Zaboomafoo stories. Give me a break.
oh yeah, those are great.
Zaboomafoo stories are horrible.
No,
I'm sitting waiting for the end. It's like, what just happened here? What just happened?
no, the problem with Teddy Ruxpin stories is that they're short
Mm-hmm.
and you say the same damn stories over and over. You couldn't
Same
change the.
thing as Zaboomafoo.
I want long
Yeah.
stories that put me to sleep.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. But what was that little thing called that his name is something like, I can't even remember,
Samuel the gnome.
something. We have the
I have
Y
no
or
idea.
something.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but it's around here somewhere still.
But if it goes off script, if you look at the back of the
You gotta
instructions
go.
and it's saying something other stuff to your kid that is not on that, then
You
yeah,
are in the middle of a horror film.
you're in the middle of a horror film.
Yeah. So yeah,
when you feel and hear the house telling you to go, you get the
yeah,
vibes from the house, or you actually hear the house saying, "Get out." Yeah, I'm gone.
yep, yep.
Or you go to
I
a
don't
Eddie,
know.
house,
when
or you
Eddie
go to a
Murphy came to that realization, I was like, "That's not a laughing matter. That's yeah, that would be my. I'm turning around. Bye. Sorry, can't stay."
or, or,
Mhm.
or how about this? You're 15, you're
Yeah.
babysitting, right?
Yes.
This for the first time, right? Mr. and
Uh huh.
Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they said, don't disturb Tommy. He's asleep. We'll be back in a couple of hours after we go to see this movie, right?
Yes.
And then the lights go out in the house.
Yes.
Are you in a horror movie then?
Not yet.
Tommy's upstairs. Don't disturb him. The lights go out.
Okay. Okay.
How did the lights
Not a
go
horror
off?
movie.
It's
The
not
lights go
another
Not
out
yet.
because
storm.
I don't know. Maybe they pay their bill. I have no idea. The lights are off.
Nope. No, it's not yet. Not yet. It's in a horror movie. I
When
mean,
does it become?
it becomes a horror movie when Tommy leaves that room.
Well, did you go upstairs to check on Tommy?
Nope. He's sleeping. They told me not to mess with him, and I'm not doing anything that I'm not getting paid to do, which is sit here. Tommy's sleeping. The end.
You're not. What kind of babysitter are you?
I'm
You're
a
not.
very
You're
bad
not.
one.
The lights are off, and you don't
A
even go upstairs.
very, very bad one. His eyes are closed. He's sleeping. It's no different to him with the lights out or on. He's sleeping.
He could be afraid.
He's sleeping. How can he be afraid? His eyes are closed. It's already dark. Right? Am I wrong?
You're a horrible babysitter.
I am indeed terrible babysitter because I
Okay,
have.
so
Okay, go
Tommy.
again.
All right, Tommy starts to cry,
Okay. I say, well, Tommy,
and now
I'm
you
new
have
to
to go
this house.
upstairs. Now you have to go upstairs in the dark
Yep.
and find the room that Tommy's in, and console Tommy. Is it a horror movie yet?
Okay. Well, this is the problem. What's happening? Tommy knows the house. I don't know the house. Tommy's crying, saying, Tommy, come on downstairs. I don't know how to get up there. Come on down here.
He
And he
may
will
trip
watch.
and fall. Oh my God, you're horrible.
Yeah, but I may trip and fall. Even more horrible. Have I been given any
You can light a
tools?
candle.
I am not lighting a candle in anyone's house to say, yeah, babysitting Penelope came over and burned my house down. No thanks. No, that's not happening.
The parents say before they leave the house, we had some electrical problems. If the lights go out, there's a candelabra right there. There's some matches.
Nope,
Feel
I'm
free.
looking right.
Feel
Nope.
free to light the candle.
No, 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 no. That's the end of movie. I'm out. I'm out. End of movie. I am out. If your electricity has problems and you have not left me a flashlight, then no, you're not leaving me a candelabra. That's not happening. So no, absolutely not. I'm gone right then. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I don't do candelabra.
But they pay,
I don't
but they,
light matches
but
in
they,
other people's
they're
houses.
paying you a great deal of money, just enough money for you to buy that blouse that you want.
You know what? Okay. You need to be beyond blouse with this. This needs to be like, okay, you need to get the money that's going to pay for your flight to go back to college, right? That's that level, right? That makes you forget to be a rational human being. All you're thinking about is the money, and logic is going out the window.
Or
So
you're
that's
sick.
the type of thing.
Or you're sick.
Nobody's going to sick me babysit their child. So let's just presume I'm desperate for money, that I'm going to ignore all the warning signs, right? I need to get this money. School starting up in the next, week. I don't have money to buy my ticket to get back to school, going to college. That might be enough to make me ignore the warning signs and make me find myself in the middle of a horror film? How you tell yourself, how bad can it be? It may not, the electricity may not go out. You know, the kid's asleep. Nothing's gonna make me have to go. Even if it gets dark, he'll sleep through it. I'll sit, down here close to the door or whatever. But those are kind of things you start saying that to yourself, you're already primed for the horror.
So you make one move, one step,
One
you're in
step.
the middle of a horror film.
Absolutely. No, when the people told me, here's the candelabra, because if the electricity goes out, you just light this candelabra and use it to light your way. And these people, they're going somewhere, right? Presumably in a vehicle. The same vehicle they could have taken to the store to buy me a flashlight, and they didn't do it. Oh no.
What about that movie? What about that movie when there's a phone call, right? It's like,
oh yeah,
did you check? And then they call back and said, oh no, the phone call is coming. You traced the phone call. It's coming from inside the house.
Yeah, I remember that movie. And I was thinking to myself, that's kind of, I know we had 2 phones at our house, 2 phone numbers, and you could call.
You had 2 phone numbers in your house?
Mm-hmm. We had 2 phone numbers.
Why you have 2 phone numbers in your house?
Because we had 2 phone numbers in our house. We had a phone number. No, we had a phone number, and our parents had a phone number.
Your parents had a private phone number?
We had our own phone number, and they had their own phone number.
Was you Batman?
Nope. It's just that
there were 2 phone numbers.
Because there were 5 children in our family, and so if our parents had, like adult people calling business bills and stuff like that, they called that other phone. They didn't call the phone that we picked up.
We had 1 phone, and you know what? I was getting off topic a little bit. I was looking at BuzzFeed, and they were saying, how did you know that your neighbors were rich or something or well off? And one of the things on the list was they didn't have a party line phone.
What the heck is that?
And I don't ever recall in my entire life having a party line phone.
Never. That's like something they had on like what is the name of that show? Green Acres.
Yeah.
Or something, or Andy Griffith's show.
I've never picked up a phone
and had somebody else on it.
Well, you know what?
Unless it was one of your siblings in the house on the other line.
This happened to me. It happened one time in New York that I can remember.
That
I picked up a phone and somebody was already talking that I did not know.
What was that?
New York is so big, any sort of glitch can happen. And I hung the damn phone up quick. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, but and Nikki will tell you, we had 2 phone numbers.
So that thing when somebody says, we trace the phone calls coming from inside your house. The first thing people like me, people from New York City and other Philadelphia, I presume Boston, would say, how the hell is the call going to come from inside your house?
Well, see, is that true, Nikki? We had 2 phone numbers, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so you can.
And so you could call your son. So one of you could be in one side of the house and call y'all from the other and call a whole different number.
Yeah, we were 2 different phone numbers.
That's some crazy issue.
Yeah, but I would think because you said that, it makes sense to me that probably the vast majority of people in the United States, when they saw that movie, didn't know what the heck they were talking about.
I knew what they were talking about, but I never experienced. How in the hell? Because it's like people in New York was like, how in the hell is a call generated inside your old house?
Well, that's everybody the thing. Got one phone number. That's the thing. Most people have 1 phone number. And I think since they didn't bother to explain it in the film, the fact that they had 2 phone numbers, most people were wondering, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
The call is coming from inside the house.
We traced the call. It's coming from inside your house.
Back in the dial-up days, I had 2, one for the dial-up and one for me to call out so that I could still get the emergency calls from my family.
So, but that's like the modem era, right?
No, it was back when it's dial-up. You had the Yeah, you had the modem phone and you had
Yeah,
your
this
house
is
phone.
before that. This is when we were children that we had two phone numbers.
Yeah, we never had. I mean, big as our house was, we had one damn phone,
Huh.
and usually it was one phone that we had downstairs, and one phone that we had on the second floor. And
But it
so
was the same line.
if you want a third floor,
You had to come down to the
you had to
second
come
to use
down
the
to the
phone.
second floor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but still, I think that in that movie, I thought about that even when I saw it. It's like most people would say, how can you have another call coming from inside your house?
It's just one of those things you take for granted. It's like, okay,
Yeah, but
well,
it wouldn't make sense if you didn't think that people had two phone numbers in their house.
I mean, I do, yeah. I mean, I didn't, we just presumed that was a thing that people had. I mean, people had a lot of stuff we didn't have, so we just said, well, that's one of the things we have. I mean, in New York City, they didn't have cable, so it's like
Yeah, true.
people watching HBO and all that stuff. We, the whole city's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what HBO is.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm looking. I know Cranston's here, and he hasn't been like saying a word. He's like not a peep. I know you watched some of these horror films.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one. I think that's purely movie because like if you only have if you dial your own cell phone number, it's not going to whatever.
Right.
I
So
did it. I did that when I
You
was a
caused it.
kid. When I was a kid and my mother wasn't in the house, I did a
Uh-huh.
lot of crazy stuff with different appliances.
Like what? Calling yourself on the phone?
Call my own damn phone number.
And what happened? Yeah, which is why I
The
think in that
business signal.
film,
Gave you a
which is
business
why,
signal.
right, which is on that film, why it didn't make sense that they didn't indicate that they had two phone numbers. Because people like the calls coming from inside the house. Okay.
well, the other thing about that is if the call coming from inside the house, unless you live in South Fork or Buckingham Palace, wouldn't you hear the other person talking?
That would make sense, right?
No, no,
I
no, not
guess they're supposed to
necessarily
have a pretty big house
yeah,
because they're in
because
the bedroom with the children, I guess.
if you lived in our house in Brooklyn, we had 3 floors. So if you were on the third floor,
Hmm.
you could make a call that no one else could hear on the second or first
Yeah,
floor.
that's true.
So that could
If you have
happen.
multiple, well, yeah, I mean, but they have to
And that can happen here in
understand.
this house.
But
That can
but
happen in this
again, in
house.
this, oh God, in this house for sure. I mean, I'm where I am. You couldn't hear me on the phone. I couldn't
No,
hear you on the phone if you're in the room next to me
exactly.
because the walls are plaster and lab. This is,
Right.
you couldn't hear anything.
You could hear
But,
anything.
but the thing is, see, Cranston's from Florida, so all of the houses were like one floor. Most of the houses like one floor, so
Oh,
it's not the same. You can pretty much hear. You know, if you're like in a normal house, you could hear people on the phone.
I just felt that we were technologically challenged. Like, the rest of the world has all these fancy double phone places, and in New York City, we just had tin can and a piece of string.
And you all had to share it.
That's what it felt like.
Well, I mean, I'm going to tell you. I mean, that's why again, the way you think about stuff puts you like, I don't know how you would function in the middle of you'd be like the person killed first because you never realize that you're in the middle of a horror movie.
No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
well,
I
that's right.
mean,
You'd be killed first.
well,
you think
Stephen.
I'd be killed? No, no, I wouldn't be killed at all.
You'd be killed first because you don't even
No,
know the horror movie's going on all around you, and you don't even know it.
no, no, that's not what would happen. What would happen is at the end of the horror movie, I would go home and lay in the bed, and then the next morning I would say, "Oh crap, I was in a horror movie."
No, man. I mean, you're walking into the catacombs looking for brooches, jumping on trains and playing tarot cards, and
Get
now
go,
you don't know it.
get into dark elevators and trains.
That's right. Jumping into cars, Ubers with people that don't even have the right car and the right license. Man, you're just like dangerous. Your business. Are you cool, cool or something?
You're giving your guardian angels heart attacks.
No,
Well,
no.
in his book Dance Macabre, which was an examination of all things horror, and this was back, I guess, in the early '80s, that Stephen King had posed the question that says, "Well, why do people in horror movies do such dumb things?" And the answer was because they're in horror movies. That's the only way it works. So,
Yeah,
but the
but
thing,
that's not true because there are horror movies, for instance, one of my favorite is John Carpenter's The Thing. That everybody who is there does everything pretty much that's logical, except for Clark when they bring the dog in, because he presumes that is a regular dog without thinking, why would Norwegians be in a helicopter chasing a dog across the frozen tundra and trying to kill it? There must be
you
something
wouldn't think
about that.
you wouldn't think
Hmm?
they'd be doing it because it was, you know, what it
yeah.
was, right?
But whatever it was probably something that doesn't need to be around people. It may be rabid. It may be they escaped from a lab. Something they've done to it. Whatever it is, it's not the type of thing that you accept into your building because the Norwegians are flying in helicopters with sniper rifles trying to kill this thing. So yeah, that is when you know the horror movie has started. You let that thing into your
Well,
encampment.
this is what I think. I think people in horror movies pick the options that are available to them.
But the option available to them was not let the dog into the encampment. That's easy.
Well, I think they said that they thought that the Norwegians had gone crazy and something told them to go shoot the dog. So the dog was innocent. They were the
Right,
ones problem.
right.
I figure if somebody knows how to man a helicopter and fly it after a monster dog, and they can shoot with sniper rifles,
But it's not a monster
I'm
dog.
gonna not just I'm gonna err on the side of these human beings knowing that something has gone horribly wrong.
No, I mean you're always gonna go with the plausible instead of
The plausible thing
it's like
is that these guys would not be chasing down a dog with sniper rifles.
no,
That's for no reason.
it's like
I'm bored.
it's like
All of a sudden, I'm bored, and I got to chase after a dog
it's
with
like
a sniper rifle.
it's like
No.
it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the first one, right?
Yes, yes.
Some kids say that's not my mom, that's somebody. It's like that sounds crazy. Nobody gonna believe that.
Yeah,
But
but again,
you're dead. But you're in that town. You're dead set in the middle of a horror movie.
yeah,
You're right in the middle of it. It's already begun.
that's right. But I'm going to say, like that kid who says, that's not my mom. And we're talking about people who are being completely vulnerable. As a child, you can't drive, there's nowhere that you can go. I mean, you go to school, half your friends probably already gotten, your teachers possibly maybe, and if
Yeah, could you
you,
imagine going to
even if you
somebody and
try to
telling
escape,
you tell
even if,
somebody my
Mhm.
mom is not acting right, and someone's going to say to you as a kid, "Shut up, be quiet. What are you talking about?"
Right, right. I mean, even if you tried to get away, if you said, okay, I'm going to get up out of here and I'm going to haul butt, how far out can you get, walk, whatever, with the pods not around you so you don't turn when you go to sleep? So,
You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
I mean, when I was a kid, I always had that fantasy like they have on TV of like running away, getting a kerchief and hanging on a
yeah,
stick or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
I thought about that. It never manifested itself. Because
It's
I
not.
would think about it and say, you know what, that sounds like way too much work. And how far
Yeah,
could I go? How far could I
exactly.
go?
How far can I get realistically? But I think, yeah, that's a scary thing. Finding yourself in that situation as a child is
That's the
really scary.
worst, right?
Yeah, that's, you have no agency. You're unable to drive, unable to, call your grandmother or somebody come get you. They're far away. Man,
But
that's the
even if
worst.
they were close, what are you gonna say, Grandma? Your daughter is not acting the way that Mom is
She
not acting
normally
the way that
does.
she's.
Yeah,
It's like she's drinking again.
yeah. She's acting strangely. And mom will call and say, "Oh, she just hasn't done her homework. Just trying to get out of doing her homework. I'll bring her next weekend." Now you really got it coming to you.
Yeah, because now your grandmother snitched on you.
Yeah, yeah. So now, what are you going to do? Who's going to believe you? Because they said that you did your homework, and that's the only reason why you're calling. So yeah, as a kid, it's like you'd have to be extremely cagey as a kid to get out of that. So kid waking up in the middle of a horror movie is the worst, especially I say because if you cannot drive, um, or if you're not particularly proficient with your bicycle, you're in trouble.
Hello, DCF. My mother
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
has.
But how many of them have already been changed? You
Yeah.
never know. So yeah, what do you do?
So what do you do? If you live in a city, what are you gonna do? Catch a
Mhm.
cab, take an Uber, take a train to another
Train,
relative,
train,
a subway to another relative,
probably.
relative. If they've been contaminated too, you're stuck.
You're stuck. Absolutely. Where are you gonna go?
Or they're gonna do like a Rosemary's Baby and just bring you back home.
Yeah, yeah. Had Dr. Saperstein's not so bad, you know. He's very well known, very highly regarded in his field. You're like, great.
And you can't go to this other doctor. It wouldn't be fair to Dr. Saperstein.
Saperstein. Not fair to Dr. Saperstein. Favorite line of all time. So yeah, that. Even like Rosemary's Baby, of course. This the concept in that film, of course. How do you know that you stepped into the horror film? And hers was like she had to be a detective because she didn't know until she knew, but it was already too late because her husband had already sold her out. So how could she know that her husband would sell her out? That finding this place that they're living in was not
It's
happenstance. You know,
implausible.
it is
It's
impossible.
implausible that for no spoilers. I guess with spoilers. When are spoilers no longer a thing? I mean, the
Oh my
movie is like
God.
100 years old. So it's like,
After 30 years, I think we can say, yeah, if you haven't seen it by now, you weren't going to.
Yeah.
yeah. So who's to think that your husband's gonna drug you and then let a beast climb on top of you and impregnate you? Who?
Who would think that? Your adoring husband who supposedly loves you. But understand it's even worse than that because you found this great apartment, but that meant that he had to know about the apartment ahead of time
I don't think
and
so.
lured you. He did because
No,
the
I
guy
don't think
thought,
that's.
no, he did because what's his name?
I
Castevet.
disagree with that
No,
one.
but remember, Roman Castevet saw him performing and he approached him. That's
No,
how.
no, because they already
Watch it
had this
again.
lady. They
No,
had this lady lined up already.
I know, but that didn't work out, and that's how they got them. Because Roman Castevet saw him performing at some point.
No, I think I know. No, no,
Watch it. Watch
that's
it
not.
again.
That's not
Watch it
correct.
again. It is
Somebody
correct.
help me out here.
It is
That's not.
correct.
That's
He
incorrect.
said so that Roman Castevet saw him performing somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, he said that because he was trying to massage his ego.
No, I think that that's when he met him, and that's when they offered him, made him the offer.
No, I don't think they're gonna. By the way,
Yes.
that's the Dakota is the place John Lennon lived when he was assassinated.
Is that where they lived?
John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
The same place that Rosemary
The
lived.
building, not the unit.
Not the unit, yeah, but the building.
Yeah.
See, that was the first thing is how can, because everybody else in there was like 90 years old. So
Yeah.
how
Hmm.
You know
young
why? You know
can
why they were 90
afford?
years old? Because
Rent
there's
control.
yeah,
You have a rent control apartment, and
and you
they were,
never give it up.
yep, 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 yep. So I think, yeah,
I
that
think
one
that's
with
wrong. I think that's
Rosemary.
wrong, Penelope. I think that's wrong.
I think I'm right. I think, but it wrote the whole issue of Rosemary and Rosemary's Baby. How could she have ever known that she had walked into the middle of a horror film? That's the one where
I mean, the thing
it's
is,
like almost impossible.
husband and wife are in the middle of a horror film, aren't they?
No, he's in the middle of a dream. This is his dream to have his career take off. So what that he used her to do it? He's fine. It's only a horror for her. for him, this is great. He got what he wanted off her back for sure, but he got what he wanted. This is a fantasy. So yeah, I mean, for her, it's a horrible horror because of that too, because the person that should be in your corner, your support, your husband, that he's in the same guild with the people who have your worst your worst interest at heart. That's awful. So for her, yes, it's a horror movie. For him, not so much. I don't know. Well, I know Cranston, like I say, be quiet. What do you think is the quintessential finding yourself in the middle of a horror film? That moment that you say, oh, crap, I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah,
or at the beginning of it.
As soon as somebody says, let's split up, we can make better time.
So that's when you hit it. When they're like, let's split up. Let's say your mystery show. Let's split up.
And Penelope is always saying that. It's like, I'll drop you guys off here and I'll circle back.
I do. I do. I like things to go fast and efficiently. So if I'm in a car and we're driving and we go to the store and it's hard to find a parking space, I just say, get out. Go in, start shopping. I'll find a spot and then I'll meet you inside. Nope, we're all going in together. That's Otto. I'm like, come on, man, just go in and start shopping. Nope. We're all going to go in together and then we're going to leave together.
Now, when you go into Walmart and you park and get out, do you get to the end of the row and check up and see what aisle you're on so you can find your car when you come back?
That's probably the bad thing. I'm very terrible at that. Otto, on the other hand, is very good at it. He always looks. He always looks. He always looks. Sometimes I look, sometimes I don't. Since when I travel with him, I know that he always will. So I don't do it often, every now and then.
So that means we don't. I was gonna say, so that means we don't go to Disney World with you because you'll forget which lot you were in.
Yeah,
probably not. That is a different thing.
She'll probably still be there from the 1990s. If
I don't get lost. I don't get lost.
He's like, what the hell?
I mean, we have such don't get lost protocols. So we have to say this. I will ask. Okay, Otto, you are are you looking at the screen or you're not looking at the screen, right? Are you looking at the screen, Otto?
What screen?
You're not looking at a screen, this thing, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so don't look at the screen. Okay, you're not looking at the screen, right?
Don't look at the screen?
I'm putting up a number by my fingers, and I'm going to ask you to answer a question, but I'm going to put the answer in my fingers.
Close my eyes?
Close your eyes and don't look at the screen, either one.
Okay, all right.
Okay, now do it. Okay, now y'all see this? Can you see my hands?
Yeah.
What aisle do we go to in the grocery store if we get lost and have not contacted each other?
There's
7.
That's right. 7.
Also, if you remember,
we have all sorts of not get lost protocols. That if we go to the grocery store, we become incommunicado for whatever reason, we meet on aisle 7.
But now the monsters know. So now we have to change it.
Not change it. Okay, I'm sorry. To change it from the monsters won't know what aisle we go to. But I could say that we have not get lost protocols. We don't play with the get lost stuff.
Well, the other one is, either you say, well, we only came in here for one item, so you go to that aisle, or this person always looks at, like, for me, it's anything on the clearance shelf. So if you can't find anything else, I'll be in wherever the clearance is or markdown is. But yeah.
Now ours is we have a specific aisle. You go to that aisle. Everybody converge that aisle, and then we get out. If we don't.
Let me ask you about this clearance aisle. You ever find anything good on that clearance aisle?
Yeah.
Really? Like what?
Yeah.
Well,
can't guarantee you'll find it again.
No,
at another store.
What? Give me an example of your best find in the clearance aisle.
10-cent cans of soup that were normally $1.25 each. Because some a brand name. I can't remember which brand right now.
What flavor?
Chicken.
Oh, that's good.
Just chicken soup.
Yeah.
Well, if it's Progresso instead of Campbell's, yeah,
Who
that's
the hell makes chicken soup?
Progressive.
Campbell's, Progresso.
Just plain up and up chicken soup, and no,
Like
just
chicken soup with rice or chicken noodle soup or creamy
I don't
chicken
remember
soup
what. I know it was chicken. I just
or
don't
some
remember
sort of
what
form of
kind.
chicken soup.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You can't guarantee you'll find it again, some of the things we found. But
Yeah.
that's when you go online and see if you can find it directly from the manufacturer.
Okay.
Craster, what about you?
I was in the store recently, and there was this like high end or higher end barbecue sauce, and it's like $1.34 a bottle. So I said, yeah, okay, that's a good deal. So you get that.
How much was it before? How much is it normally?
It's like $3 normally, so that's like less than 50%.
Like 50% off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we found some buffalo mayonnaise, the mayonnaise that they put the hot mixer with the hot sauce. It was $1.25 in the clearance aisle. You can buy it regularly for like $6-7 because they changed the label. The company changed the label, so they wanted all the old label gone.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And you get it for a song.
Yeah.
How about discounted meat?
That's still in the refrigerated section. It's case by case basis.
Yeah, well, what they'll do is they will say, like mark down, and so sometimes
Right.
check all the dates on it and see if you see anything that was kind of green around there and stuff, and
Thanks, Cranston.
Yeah.
I mean, should you pay attention to the best buy sell date?
The best, the sell by.
It depends on what it
by.
is. Depends on what it is.
If it's best, it's sold by. But I don't really care if it's best. I just want something good to eat. So
let's sell by use by dates.
Oh, use by date. Use by date.
Yeah. Best Buy, it depends. Like if it's meat, if it's supposed to, you can only keep meat in your shelves for like 3 days or 2 or 3 days. So a week or so in your freezer section or refrigerated section. So if it's getting close, if it's not the day of, you can trust that it's at least can get it into your freezer section before it gets any illness attached to it. And they usually sell that at special family rate, or what was one we saw?
Oh man,
special markdowns.
Remember the time at Food Lion here? I mean, it had to be like 20 some odd years ago that they got in trouble because they were washing their meat in bleach.
Yeah.
You could smell the.
Walmart used to do that too.
Yeah, Food Lion did it here, and
Was
it's kind of like that's a horror story. That's a horror story.
That's a horror story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I had a friend that said, "Don't buy the meat at the grocery store he was working at that week because the refrigerator case went out and they didn't take anything out, but they didn't go through to make sure stuff had still survived."
Wow, that is bad, and they don't even care.
Well, the one horror I always think about is that my uncle was a butcher in New York, and he said never buy ground hamburger. Always get either get steak or sirloin or stewed beef or some other beef and have them grind it for you. Never ever buy hamburger, and I buy hamburger all the time. Every time I take a bite out of my hamburger, I'm thinking, I'm sorry, Uncle.
Yeah,
that's a horror show.
Yeah, and that's something. But because we're just running, it was so busy, and we would get in and get out quickly. But one day I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and get the beef and say, here, grind it up.
If you can find a butcher.
Yeah, if you can find a butcher. Well, guys, we're coming down to the get down. And Cranston and Sonia, if there are any things that you can think of off the top of your heads that you think this is I'm in the middle of a horror story, please regale us.
When the cute thing that you trusted and liked all of a sudden goes berserk, or a different personality shown, as in Gremlins, or we just watched a Doctor Who where the cute little creature turned out to be the big bad guy.
Oh, wow. So yeah, the little thing that
Yeah,
you get is sweet
the
and
gizmo turns into a gremlin.
yes.
And did we see Penelope? Did we see the first Doctor Who or one of those Amicus movies?
Oh yeah, Doctor. What is the one we're talking about? People go down
The
into
Vault
the
of
elevator,
Horror.
the Vault of Horror.
Yeah.
But Tom, what's his name? Who is the first Doctor
Tom
Who?
Baker.
Tom Baker.
No, Tom Baker wasn't the first. He was
Was it the
number
second one?
4 or 5. No, he was
Are you
3 or
sure?
4. Yeah.
What
So
year? What year did it
Doctor
start?
Who started in 1964. It's the 60th
Yeah,
anniversary of
but
Doctor Who
he
this
is
year.
1973 or
So one
1974.
of the first.
Well, the first one that I ever saw that
One of
came
the
out when I
first
was
ones
a
I've
kid.
ever saw
The curly hair guy.
was on Vault of Horror.
The curly hair
Yeah.
guy. That one.
The
Yeah.
curly haired Doctor Who was
Yeah.
in the Vault of Horror.
Yes, he's the Vault of Horror. And when I was a kid, since we saw it, it was in black and white. I think Vault of Horror was probably the first time I saw that he actually had like red curly hair. He looks like Bill Walton.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. First Doctor Who was William Hartnell. Tom Baker is. Hold on. You can look him up.
But he was
I
in-
know
he
this
was
because
in the
I knew
horror.
this because we were doing research because we were watching the new Doctor.
One of the things that nobody ever thought about, but in the early days, up until I guess the 70s, when they decided to get a younger audience, that whenever the Doctor regenerated, you'd have one old guy and he'd regenerate into another old guy.
Yeah, because I remember the 5th Doctor. There was everybody that he was when it was Peter Davison. Everybody was shocked. He's young.
Pete Davidson's young. Pete Davidson was Saturday Night Live.
No, not Pete. Davison. I can't remember.
You said Pete Davidson?
Tom Baker's number. Yeah, I did. I said wrong name.
The guy who came after
Tom Baker. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back
Tom Baker's number 4.
I'm gonna go back to this Cranston thing about an old guy turned to another old guy.
Yeah.
But the Doctor Who's
Doctor Who. Oh.
Yeah, for one.
Oh.
Peter Davison. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you said Pete Davidson. I said that
guy.
Doctor Who.
Peter Davis. Davis. Davison.
Not Davidson.
Not David.
So if you had Pete Davidson as Doctor Who,
who happens
Doctor
to be
Who with a question mark on it.
Yeah, who happens to be David Tennant's stepfather. I mean, father-in-law.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a Nepo doctor.
Yeah. Well, they weren't in-laws when Tennant took over.
But they're
Davison's the wife showed up on the show. They fell in love, and so the doctor ended up marrying the doctor ended up marrying the doctor's daughter.
Oh, that's
little bits of trivia there from that's stuck in my head.
All right, y'all. Well, it's down to it. Who else do you have?
Mark found out the name of your talking gnome. He said Two's Company, Henry the Talking Gnome.
I don't think was that it. That don't sound familiar.
No, the name Henry. But he was well, I might say no. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong, but that don't sound.
But
that don't sound right.
But he's like furry. Was he like a little furry thing?
I
think his name is something like Yale or something like that. I don't know.
We'll find him.
It could be.
It might be like Giannis or something.
Yeah, there were a whole bunch of talking critters.
After
Furby. After Teddy Ruxpin became popular.
He's pretty hideous though, but he told good
I don't
stuff.
know what his name is.
It
was it was like a little furry little thing who told stories.
Yeah, told stories. Also, Penelope, you're in the in honor of Adolf Caesar. You're in the middle of a horror story. You hear Adolf Caesar's voice.
Yes, Adolf Caesar is talking about it.
Then he had the perfect voice for horror trailers.
Oh yeah, he sure did. He was great. All those when we were coming up, the horror movies. Caesar's little gravelly voice was really good. This is gonna be good.
And to
Or
hear
at
that
least
same
tricking
voice,
me into believing it's gonna be good.
and to hear that same voice in Soldier Stories, like, oh man, that's the guy.
That's the guy with the voice of the
That's the
horror
guy that
movie.
does all the.
Yeah. I remember just the childhood, those voices, there's certain voices that we always use for the horror movies, and Adolf Caesar, always for horror movies and like thriller, type films. You hear Adolf Caesar's voice through the trailers, so that's definitely the blast from the past. We're listening to this. Okay.
You're in a horror movie when when the attractive couple takes time out of the stressful situation to make out.
Well, that's my life.
You notice
That's
they always
That's the story of my life. What are you saying?
Slasher films. Yeah, that is.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'm always taking time to make up. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna get killed.
And
by a
as you
here we
said,
go.
that's why we know he's always in the middle of a horror film.
Yeah, doing all sorts of judgmentally questionable actions. Okay.
If you're in the middle of a romantic entanglement and you're thinking about whether or not you're gonna get killed by a monster, you know what? You need help.
Yeah, well, this is true. You shouldn't be thinking about it at all, I guess. But the whole point is
that's the last thing you're thinking about, and that's why you get killed. That's why these people get killed because no one's thinking about that. I don't give a damn about any monster at that point,
I'm hooking up. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
I'm hooking up.
Well, one of my classmates decided the cheap date was rather, you couldn't do it at his house, couldn't do it at her house.
Right.
You didn't want to go to one of the cheap motels at the edge of town and stuff. So I've heard that people would go.
So you've heard.
So he went to the cemetery.
No.
Dark, and who else is going to be out there that time of night except for the cop that told them, hey, get a room the next time.
Are you kidding me? Not only did they go to the cemetery, but they got caught.
So he left and he took her back home because that kind of spoiled the mood.
You think?
He went down his little black book and he found somebody else who was willing to go out, and he went back to the same cemetery. And the same cop came by and said, "What? You again?"
Oh, that probably worked out well for him.
Yeah, so that's when you kind of know you're in a horror movie, because how are you going to explain that one? Okay.
Well, how that cop explained he's out? What the hell is he doing out there?
His job.
Yeah, that was his job. So that's what he.
Yeah, right. To patrol the cemetery.
Yeah, because they had a lot of and everything. So
yeah,
if he's taking his dates there, there's lots of people breaking into the cemetery.
That cop is doing his stuff out there too. I bet you.
I don't know, but I think anybody who would go out there and do that, they got issues.
Yeah, are you kidding? The cemetery?
Yeah, no, man.
You ever been to a cemetery, except for funerals?
No.
I mean, cemetery. There's a bunch of stuff at cemeteries you don't want to see.
Yeah.
You do not want to see. I mean, animals you don't want to see. Things you don't want to see.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
That's not a great date.
Not a great date. Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah,
somebody has to tell me that.
I want to have my pants down by my ankles and a rat crawling up my poo-poo.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. That's a horror story.
Yeah,
that is a horror story. And you find yourself in a situation where you're so hard up, literally, that you would do anything in a cemetery. Things are already taking a very bad turn for you in life.
Rat crawling up your poo-poo. That's not great.
No, just no. That's no. I'm sorry. It's like, do you have a car or something? Come on.
Anybody's car?
I mean, no. Crazy.
I mean, what do you do? What do you do as a prelude? Have a picnic?
That's just creepy. That's just That's when you know you're in the middle of a horror story.
That
Mhm.
you know
Somebody
that
invites you out on a date to have a picnic in a
at a
cemetery.
cemetery.
No.
That's some serious
Oh boy,
God.
it's gonna be real surprised.
That's some serious God stuff, ain't it? Though?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I've known a couple that's done that.
I mean, no. And I mean, it's like if it's like, hey, I'm gonna go out to the grave of some, aunt, uncle, relative, person that you revere, I get it. But just generally just to show up at the cemetery, to hook up, no. Mm-mm.
Grandma, I think she's the one. I just wanted you to meet her.
Thank you, Cranston.
That's right. I want you to meet all of her.
Thank you, Cranston. And you, Otto, too. Thank you so much.
On that note,
Yeah, no joke. But thank you all very much for joining us tonight in the Otherhood. We're back again next week, and I'm sure we'll all be so rested and refreshed from this long weekend. So, take care of yourselves. Well, really, I mean, y'all had a long weekend. So, take care of yourselves. Um, do something productive. Then we'll see you next week. Thank you. Good night.
good night.
Good night.